purpose of this session is to wrap up the previous session on motorcycling. I had some comments I wanted to make. I noticed that no, I do that with names all the time. Aging, I suppose. Anyway, Mariah had written a little comment earlier about some lessons learned from one of my blogs. So, with that in mind, Mariah, I thank you. That was a good addition to the program. There are a few lessons to be learned from all of this, and that is, I think, the most important lesson is that if you think you're in charge of the motorcycle, and if you are actually the one driving and the one who's in command, it's time to sell it, because you're headed for a big spill, if not something worse. Now, for my other grandchildren, one in particular who has ambition to fly and someday own his own airplane, and for that matter, one of my cousins' son, who has recently bought an airplane, the same exact information applies. If you think you know what you're doing, if you think you know you're in charge, it's time to say goodbye. Now, another important lesson looking at my notes here, is that, all joking aside, leave the peppermint schnapps at home. It is not a good companion for one or more on the back of a motorcycle. Third lesson would be don't drive it on icy streets or in gravelly conditions. I don't know how I escaped, but I did. So let's take note of some of that and use it to our advantage, all of us. And in regard to my remarks about girls and motorcycles, I think it's wonderful that they like to ride on bikes, and I think it's even more wonderful that they're independent enough and, well enough trained, smart enough, probably to do a much better job than we boys. And I think it's wonderful that they buy and drive their own. I know several girls and ladies, in fact ladies would be more appropriate, who own and drive bikes, and I suspect should they ever read this blog they would give you similar advice. My last note and lesson to be learned is motorcycles are very heavy. With that, why we're going to progress on and tackle another subject, I believe. I think we have time.